want to restart that intro. Hello,
Yes.
everyone, and welcome to the first ever JunoCast. I'm Parker Biller, the founder and CEO of Juno Spaceflight and Hyperspace. For the first ever JunoCast, we are joined with Simon, the founder and CEO of DAXT.
Yes. Well, hello everyone. It's really nice to be here. Yeah, it's very nice to be here as guest right now.
hmm Yep. So let's really just step straight into the questions. Let's just talk about DAX. Like how's DAX doing, and give us some details on like what you're doing at the company.
Yeah, well, it's going very well actually. Um, we're going to be in a few months celebrating third year anniversary, and the whole project is currently getting faster and faster doing the whole thing. Um, we are planning on launching Gripen 2 and its 14th flight test in a few days. Probably next week. And yeah, we should be attempting first reuse currently. And yeah, it will be a big milestone for us if we reuse the first booster. And that will basically mean that we can verify that our vehicles can be flown more than once and that they can be further. We can lower the costs of launch to space.
Mm.
And yeah, that's basically how the whole thing goes. And we also are planning some big projects for the future.
Which will be announced later this stream. All right. So next up, let us know
Yes,
about
exactly.
Phoenix. What's some details about Phoenix?
Yeah,
I mean,
Phoenix. Well, that's an interesting rocket, actually.
mm,
Yeah, it's as far as I'm concerned, Phoenix is the first fully operational sounding rocket that currently flies, at least first in 2025.
mm,
It was the first ever launch we did this year, and also the second launch. And basically, Phoenix is a two-stage small sounding rocket fully propelled by solid rocket boosters that should be eventually capable of providing a quite low-cost launches into space with bringing back the small payloads, for example, scientific instruments or some biological experiments, depends on our customer, of course. And
inter-
well, simply said, Phoenix should be our most flown vehicle in 2026, as not this year because we are working on some other projects.
mm.
But yeah, it should be the most flown one once it's getting to operational state.
Nice. Question. When are y'all planning on the third flight test of Phoenix, or will it even be a flight test?
Actually, it's not going to be a flight test anymore because, well, it's not going to be a flight test. I'm not saying that it's over for the Phoenix. It's actually just starting to get active. Um,
hmm
I don't think it's a big mystery that we are planning on doing more than 30 launches this year. And part of that are also our Phoenix launches. And what we are planning on currently doing is building more and more Phoenix rockets and eventually getting into its 12th flight by December. So the closest flight we're going to have is Flight 3. It does not have an official name yet, as it's going to be also still internal payload. But it should fly in mid-March from landing pad 3. And it's going to be amazing because it's supposed to be a night launch based on our restrictions in the flight and marine travels they will filed into the Fredonian Empire government. So faster and faster soon. And yeah, Phoenix is basically going to be the most launched rocket we are going to have, as I mentioned earlier. So
That's
people
nice.
should be
That's
excited about those launches.
hmm. So on to our next question about Gripen, y'all's is it a medium lift launch vehicle or is it heavy?
Actually, that's a great question because it's a bit more complicated with the Gripen itself.
Hmm.
The Gripen is somewhere between medium and heavy launch vehicle, depending on the configuration.
Hmm.
Now, we are currently in a version 2 of Gripen. That means the different belt fairing, everything is mostly the same as on the Block 1, except for the first stage that has been modified, and also for the second stage. One of the biggest change is the fairing, which is now larger than the vehicle itself, which I think you have the wrong Gripen on the picture, but that does not really matter at the moment.
Oh, sorry.
Simply said, the Gripen we have at the moment is one of the strongest rockets that we have built that is not reusable.
Hmm.
And I mean, it was supposed to be reusable, but it never got into the proper part of the flight.
Mhm.
And well, simply said, I think if the customer wanted us to launch something to Salero or maybe to Erados, we could do it on Gripen as well. It's just gonna need some small modifications. But the vehicle itself is capable of doing so. It was, as far as I'm concerned, the simulations that we run for the Block 2 variant were capable of lifting up to 62 tons into a low Drew orbit and
Hmm.
having almost 1/4 of the fuel left in the second stage. So
Wow,
it's pretty strong, I have to tell you that.
that's amazing. So on the topic of let's talk about Phobos. It's y'all's crewed capsule.
Yes, that's correct. Phobos is our cruise capsule, and if you all remember, a few weeks ago, the Phobos itself was basically having its first ever official crewed launch, except for the test flight, in January. It's the last launch of January, and the Phobos is currently in orbit on Deimos mission. It should return, if I remember, in the end of this week, in the end of next week, of course. That vehicle is currently with 4 crew members on board,
Hmm.
and it well, basically, Phobos is more of a conventional design spacecraft, however, capable of reuse. And if any of the people that are following are also owners of the companies, you can trust that Phobos is reliable, since there was some small issues during the crewed flight test, and crew survived it very well. And yeah, so
Hmm.
Phobos is basically our leading vehicle in the program itself in the case of the crewed vehicles. And it should have its sixth flight by the end of the year, so
Wow,
3 more to go, at least.
interesting. So now off of Gripen 1, now onto Gripen 2. So what is up with that vehicle?
Now, Gripen 2 is basically our most liked launch vehicle, not really liked, because we don't have preferences in that way. But it is the most used vehicle we have at the moment.
Hmm.
Not really most used, but most used in the simulations at least. Basically, the Gripen 2 should be fully reusable once it gets into the proper stage of the whole thing. The second stage is currently expendable with payload fairing. It's 8 meters in diameter. It could be capable of launching up to 200 tons into medium Drew orbit
Wow.
with reusability in mind for the first stage. So if you take into consideration another vehicle which that is not that strong, yeah, it's pretty amazing. the whole Gripen 2 architecture is basically designed to be reusable but also sustainable,
Hmm.
and it's using an advanced distance in the guidance as well as proximate terminals, which are provided by our fellow partner company ISX, or in this case, Explorations. Shout out to them for the terminals on board. As I mentioned, the fourth launch should be in a couple of days in the next week, and it should have first stage reuse. We launched Gripen 2 integrated flight test number 4 in November. It has landed successfully, and now it has been refurbished, repainted, and repurposed for this mission, which is a lot more complicated than previous ones. Since the previous one
Hmm.
did not really carry an official payload, this one will carry some fairly interesting payloads,
And which will those be?
which I
Well,
think some of you might like, especially if you're a Doctor Who fan. The
and
payloads on the integrated flight test number 4 are the target. Wait, what? What'd you
yeah,
say?
aren't y'all also launching Rico
Go
A
ahead.
yeah Rico A2, B2, and C2 also after the uh test flight of Archimage back in January. They replaced some satellites for those.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, so that'll be
Yes,
very nice. I have my
actually, that's
satellites back up.
correct. Those are the secondary payloads on this flight. They're all encapsulated in the fairing and connected to the second stage. Yeah, we're very glad to help you with those satellites. Primary payload is, however, TARDIS, which is time and relative dimension in space type for the TARDIS, which, if Kerbal is watching, Kerbal, CEO of Fusion Space, he knows what I'm talking about. And now the whole thing basically is gonna be flying in a few days, and we should be having also live stream of the first stage landing.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's gonna be lovely. It's
Oh
gonna be
yeah,
very lovely.
cannot wait for that test. And finally, before we wrap up today's stream, we have a major announcement introducing Project Gravitas. Now, this project,
Yes,
yeah, you can go ahead, Dex, and explain it.
it's my speak about the project.
What'd you say?
Yeah. So Project Gravitas is basically a joint cooperative mission between multiple companies.
Yeah, and those companies are DAXT, of course,
Now,
CPEP Space,
currently,
oh,
Project Gravitas is
oh,
yeah,
can I
go ahead.
thank you. So currently, the companies that are planned to help us is DAXT, CPEP Space, Kuiper Space, Aurora Space, Fusion Space,
Hyperspace as well as
yeah,
Aurora Space.
hmm Fusion Space, Astron Space, Apollo Industries, and ISX. So you can go ahead and continue with the with everything else for it.
Yes, and with yeah, thank you. With some more coming up later, more companies should join us after the mission one. It's gonna be amazing because Gravitas is not just any conventional mission or any kind of mission.
Hmm.
The whole thing, the whole Gravitas project, whole Gravitas initiative is an initiative to get first troops in onto the Luna before the end of this year.
Yep.
Now,
It,
I see a question by Echo, which is CEO of Dynamics, basically a point saying that Fusion is just giving us docking ports. It's not just that, because if you were part of our project, you would know that it's just not about the docking ports by the fusion space. It's also by the cooperation with Lunar Rock. It's also by cooperation with the samples from the Lunar Rock 2 mission, by future visits with the crewed Lunar Rock variant, which should be coming up in a few months. But basically, every single company that is incorporated in this project is going to be helping us either with launching stuff, building stuff for us, or with the ground support systems.
Hmm.
Now, if you could name all the vehicles we have currently planned for us, that would be lovely.
Yes, sir. So, currently for the lander, we have, correct me if I'm wrong saying it, Gallifrey, is how you say it?
It's a Gallifrey, actually, yeah.
Oh,
It's a fictional sci-fi planet from Doctor Who. It is the home for the race called Time Lords, and I got that because I don't want to spoil or anything for people that don't watch, but it died and it came back, and that's basically what the whole lander is. I planned it. I decided to scrap the idea, and then I decided why not just revisit it.
Yep. So, this vehicle right here is a Gallifrey GA01A, which is currently a test structure, which will not fly to the moon, but GA02 will fly eventually to Luna, and it's currently on the pad right now, undergoing some tests as we speak. And next up with that, we have the crewed spacecraft Phobos, which is also been doing its flight test. That will bring up our crew to low Drew orbit, and then they will connect to.
Actually,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
if I can say a bit about turbos, if I can
Mhm.
speak about turbos, yeah, the Phobos is going to be modified for the lunar missions, as it does not have enough radiation protection and everything for the mission itself. However, it should be able to serve the mission fairly well and fairly nicely once it's modified enough. We can go now. Continue.
Yes. So once that goes into low Drew orbit, it will connect to our station. Mind you, saying it, I have no clue how to pronounce that. Isn't it
Yeah.
called Estragil? Is how you say it?
Well, the whole mission is a lot of our structures are called based on the Doctor Who, so it's Estragil. Yes. That was the, if I recall correctly, that was one of the cities on Gallifrey.
Hmm.
So,
Yes.
yes, basically
So.
the Estragil is our transfer vehicle, and
Mhm.
it's gonna be amazing once it flies, that's for sure.
Yes. So it is currently made out of four sections, which are the we have the mid rigid pressurized section, which will be flying first up on a Griffin 2. And then we have the propulsion module, which will also be flying up on Griffin 2. The the inflated module, which will be flying on Horizon and Aurora Space's uh, um, airlock, which will be flying on their Aurora 2 vehicle. And my mom is calling right now, so uh, you can take it away with this.
Yeah, and the next, basically the whole station is gonna be used to, basically gonna be used to transfer the crew from Drew to Luna and back for the four first missions. And after the missions, there is also gonna be more modules, and then it's gonna stay in the Drew's orbit. Now, in order to, the whole thing is not to think to work, we also need to refuel the propulsion modules. That's going to be used by our spacecraft, a cargo and refueling spacecraft called Calypso.
Mhm.
Now, Kuiper, you can go a bit more about that. You can say a bit
Yep.
more.
So this vehicle will also, correct me if I'm wrong, will it fly on Griffin 2?
Actually, it's gonna fly on Griffin 1. It's diamonds for Griffin 1.
Okay, yes. So that will fly on Griffin 1 up to low true orbit, and it will connect to one of the docking ports on Estrel, which you can see here. And so, yep, it will dock. It will go up with fuel, with some fuel for the transfer stage, which is also the propulsion and energy module. And then it will also carry on top of fuel some extra food, clothes, and everything for
Actually,
the
it should
crew.
have hydrogen and oxygen.
Oh
Two
yes.
main.
Mhm. Yep. So and finally to wrap up this great stream, we're going to announce that when we say by the end of the year we're going to land Druids on Luna, we are currently targeting for fall this year. So stay tuned for that. More updates are definitely sure to come. Um, we have our first launch of Project Gravitas on in just under a month
Yes,
on
and also
no,
I would like to say a bit more about
what.
sorry to interrupt you, unfortunately. There's some technical issues, but I would like to say also some small technical stuff on the Gravitas for other companies.
Hmm.
So, um, if any other company wants to join us, you should join the Hyperspace Discord server, which is
Yep.
basically the main hosting place for our basic meetings. And on that server, you should ask the Parker, which is the CEO and founder of Kuiper,
Hmm.
for access to a special room where we discuss the Gravitas project. The Gravitas 1 is basically not gonna have any other companies to join, but Gravitas 2 is gonna have more companies as Gravitas 1 is already basically in the final stages of planning and first stages of production. Now, you can continue with the remaining stuff if you want, Parker.
Yep. Thank you. So yeah, so we're going to land the first crew of Druids on the surface of Luna fall this year, hopefully looking towards a mid-October landing. And so that will be very amazing for that. Make sure to stay updated on all of our X accounts, formerly Twitter, and so stay updated on all of those accounts, and we will probably have updates probably about weekly or so. But whatever happens, we will just see. We are working on the station, which is pretty good into development right now. And my mom's calling me again. Dax, you can take it away.
Yeah, thank you. So, um, the station is Estrigil, as I mentioned, and the we are also gonna be working on base Arcadia, and that's gonna be a big project for us at the moment, as it's gonna be basically the first lunar base of Druid kind that is gonna be constructed, and also the whole base is gonna be open for future visitors, and the whole mission, the Gravitas 1 mission, is gonna have a lot of planning ahead of it, which is gonna be amazing, and yeah, it's gonna be simply lovely, as one of my favorite people say. And yeah, so if I actually find the document, we are going to be discussing a bit more about the launch schedule itself. I think I have it already here, yes. So basically, the current schedule for the launches is that uh, Hyperspace is going to open the whole launch campaign with your mission DAXT. And after that, we're going to follow with Gripen 2 and Integrated Flight Test number 5, which is going to launch Gallifrey GA02.
Also, let me come in real quick. That launch of Take a Slice will also be the final launch of Kuiper 2. I mean Kuiper 1, sorry. Yep, so it'll be the final launch of Kuiper 1 before its retirement. So Dex, Simon, you can continue.
Yeah, thanks. So basically, the the Gallifrey Demo 1 mission, Integrated Flight Test number 5 of Gripen 2, is going to carry Gallifrey GA2 into the lunar orbit and basically to attempt landing with the vehicle itself. And after that, there's going to be a Kevin Hart mission by CPEP Space on C1. That's going to be on the April 1st. April 14th is going to host the mission It's Time We Start. It's going to launch on Gripen. That's going to be the Gallifrey GA03C. It's going to be an essential lander with structural support and also with cargo for the crew itself once it lands on the moon. April 27th is going to have Gripen 2 launching Gallifrey Demo 2 with Gallifrey GA04. GA04 is going to stay in low true orbit. May 4th is going to have Hyperspace launching Horizon with mission Back to Me with Lunar Prospector and Calypso
No, it's not.
C1006.
It means it's not Calypso. It's just
May
Caps.
5th
It's
is
just
going to have
Capsule.
normal Gripen launching Gravitas Zero mission with Phobos with 3 crew members aboard to basically, yeah, sorry, it's basically the Phobos mission is going to be joining the whole the Gallifrey GA04, which is GA04 on low Drew orbit, and it's going to be basically an Apollo 8 style mission. May 27 is going to have another Gripen 2 launch, this time with a mission called Piece by Piece. And this is going to be the official first module that's going to be launched, and that's going to be called Archimedes. Now, in May, with yet unspecified launch date, the Apollo Industries is going to launch Beacon of Luna with the payload Iridescence. I don't know how to pronounce emojis. I'm
Iridescence.
not a native English speaker, so I lack that knowledge. On May as well, Aurora Space is going to launch Aurora 2. Yeah, thank you. Aurora 2 with Luna Scout. And the Gripen 2 is going to launch on June 10th with mission In Thrust We Trust with Module 2, which is going to be propulsion module. On June 28th, Gripen 2 is going to have yet another launch with mission Safe Travels Friend with Gallifrey GA05 lunar lander. It's going to dock to the Archimedes module. After that, there's going to be a Gravitas 0.1 mission on Phobos, which is going to be basically the first mission to the station Estrogel to wake it up. After that, there's going to be a streak of 3 hyperspace launches with 1 module and 2 Odyssey spacecrafts. The first is going to be Where It's At launch with Module 3 Odyssey, and the rest 2 are going to be Can I Land It and Yes You Can launch with Odyssey ODY 03 and 04. After that, Fusion Space is going to launch Fusion 1 Renewed Edition with Payload Justice. And after that, we're going to have 3 final launches for the Gravitas 1 mission. That is, the 2 of those are yet to be named. First one is going to be Calypso with resupply supply mission to the Estrogel, GA06. And after that, the Gravitas 1 Phobos spacecraft It's going to finish the construction process of the Estrogil station, and it's also going to be the first ever launch with crew to Luna to land on its surface in October.
Yep. And so with that, we are wrapping up the first ever JunoCast. Thank you all for watching, and thank you, Simon, for coming on today and having a great stream with us.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Thank you so much for me having here, and also thank you all so much for joining me in here. Yeah, as Gravitas is now officially announced, I'm hoping to have more of you coming onto the Kuiper server to have future partners to us. And well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Wish us luck with Gravitas and with every other mission that DAXT is going to have. And I'm also inviting you to watch the Gripen 2 Integrated Flight Test number 4 on Saturday. It should launch roughly at 5 p.m. Universal Time, so
All right.
yeah, you're all welcome there.
All right. And thank you everybody for watching once again, and we will see y'all next JunoCast with Kuiper with sorry from CPEP Space. Thank you everybody for watching, and have a good night.